You've restricted your calories to the point of hunger, and you're a familiar face at the gym, but you're still struggling with unwanted weight. Could sleep be the answer? Stay tuned to learn more about maintaining a healthy weight by improving your sleep.
I'm Dr.Vickie Petz Kasper. I practiced obstetrics and gynecology for 20 years until I landed on the other side of the sheets as a very sick patient. When my own body betrayed me, I took a handful of pills to manage my disease and another handful to counteract the side effects. My health was out of control. Through surgery, medications, and lots of prayers, I regained my strength only to face another diagnosis. My doctor challenged me to make radical changes through lifestyle medicine. Now I feel great and I want to help you make changes that make a difference. Healthy Looks Great on You podcast takes you to many medical schools so you can learn the power of lifestyle medicine. If you're ready to take control of your health, you're in the right place. Whether you're focused on prevention or you're trying to manage a condition, I'll give you practical steps to start your own journey toward better health, because healthy looks great on you.
This is episode 161, Importance of Sleep and Weight. It doesn't seem fair. You eat less than others and exercise more, but you've still got an unwanted spare tire around your belly. If you've checked all the boxes and can't figure out what's wrong, maybe it's time to go to bed and get some good quality sleep. Did you know that there are studies that indicate as much as a 40 to 55% increased risk of obesity associated with short duration of sleep? And this is true for night shift workers as well. Of course, there are other factors that contribute to excess weight gain, but poor sleep is an often overlooked contributor that keeps you from reaching your healthy weight goals despite your best efforts. The risk of metabolic syndrome is increased by 3-fold by poor sleep. In today's episode, you'll understand the sleep-weight connection, assess your current sleep quality, and implement science-backed strategies to improve sleep and start making habit changes to your sleep that affect your diet and activity level. Wow, it looks like sleep may be the secret ingredient that ties it all together. Now, am I saying you'll lose weight if you have good quality sleep? Sorry, but no. But what I am saying is that if you don't sleep well, your chances of struggling with obesity are increased. And that goes for children as well as adults. If you missed the previous episodes on sleep in this series, I'll put links in the show notes. And if you want practical steps to help improve your sleep, register for my free live sleep masterclass. I'll put a link in the show notes. Because if you improve your sleep, you'll have more energy, improved mood, and maybe an easier time controlling your weight. If you're worried about the health consequences of belly fat, such as type 2 diabetes, cognitive decline, heart disease, and depression, then don't get stuck in this cycle of frustration. Struggling without seeing any progress takes a toll on your mental health and emotions. Let's start by going to mini medical school to meet the hormones that control appetite. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone. Think of it like a lead foot on the gas pedal going full speed ahead. Leptin is the counter hormone that controls satiety, which is a signal to your brain that you've had enough and you're satisfied. So this one pumps the brakes. Ghrelin's job is to tell you, I'm hungry, so that you eat. Most of it's produced in cells that line the stomach, which makes perfect sense that the sensor would be in the gut. It then travels through the bloodstream to the brain, where it turns on receptors in the hypothalamus. Now, this is the central control center for hunger, and that stimulates the release of neuropeptide Y, which increases appetite and also decreases energy expenditure to conserve calories. Now, levels of ghrelin should rise before a meal and drop off after you fill your belly. Makes sense, right? But get this, When you don't get enough sleep, even for one night, ghrelin levels increase by around 20%. So, sleepyheads have a foot on the eating accelerator and experience increased appetite. And here's the deal, it's not an appetite for broccoli. It actually makes you crave calorie dense foods like cookies. And when the rhythm of ghrelin levels gets out of whack, you experience hunger at inappropriate times. Kind of like running a red light, except instead of getting a ticket, the needle on the scale is your fine. Not only does this create a situation like so many functions in the body, it creates a cycle. You don't sleep, so your body makes more ghrelin. More ghrelin means more hunger and more cravings. More calories means more weight gain. And guess what that can lead to? Poor sleep quality. Boom. The cycle feeds itself. Pardon the pun. If I could give you one piece of advice to help arrest this cycle, I'd say you need a regular sleep schedule. And yes, I know it's not easy. That's why I'm offering a free live sleep masterclass to help you get adequate sleep and maintain normal ghrelin levels to stabilize your hunger. Just go to my website, www.healthylooksgreatonyou.com, and in the search bar, type in free live. If you're trying to achieve a healthy weight, you absolutely need to eat whole food that's nutrient dense, and you need to increase your physical activity. But don't neglect a good night's sleep to balance hunger. Now, let's pump those brakes and talk about leptin. You probably aren't going to like this, but the word leptin comes from the Greek word leptos, meaning thin. And here's the deal, you can be thin and be very unhealthy. So, anytime I talk about weight and health, the focus is on health. But the reality is that leptin is secreted by adipose tissue. So, the more fat cells you have, the more leptin your body produces to try and control food intake. And like ghrelin, it travels through the bloodstream, crosses the blood brain barrier, and binds to receptors in the hunger center, the hypothalamus. It depresses appetite and increases energy expenditure, which has a big impact on metabolism. Great. So, what I'm saying is that if you have more fat cells, your body will produce more leptin and tell your brain enough is enough. Yeah, but that's only if things are working as designed. Lack of sleep can reduce leptin levels by 20%. So now you've got a compound effect of 20% more hunger hormone and 20% less fullness hormone, and you know what's bound to happen. Also, chronic sleep deprivation can contribute to leptin resistance, so that even when levels are normal or even high, the brain's sensitivity is decreased. So now the brain thinks you need more calories, and the drive to eat more calories usually sends you to the pantry for snack foods rather than a craving for fruits and vegetables. This hormone imbalance is a perfect storm for weight gain. All of this is an intricate part of the circadian rhythm. A system in equilibrium relies on consistent, good quality sleep, and not getting the Z's you need may sabotage your weight loss plan. One tip is to be sure and get morning light exposure. This helps make sure that your internal clock starts working properly, producing and secreting melatonin at the appropriate times. You see, the whole sleep cycle is regulated by melatonin, and melatonin secretion is controlled by light. So, exposure to light at night suppresses melatonin, and the normal rhythm is thrown out of balance by an irregular sleep schedule. But here's the deal, melatonin also has an effect on metabolism. Melatonin is released from the pineal gland and it sends signals to the adrenal glands to regulate cortisol. The levels of cortisol are supposed to be highest first thing in the morning when you wake up, and that's why you're hungry. And you should eat a healthy carbohydrate breakfast like oatmeal. Levels are supposed to be lowest at night, but a poor sleep pattern can result in elevated cortisol levels in the evening, and that can cause an increased appetite, especially for foods high in fat and sugar. You know, the ones that taste yummy but aren't good for you. And of course, this is associated with increased belly fat, which is terrible for your health. It also interferes with glucose metabolism. And what can happen is a stress, eat, sleep cycle that is broken is really hard to fix. But wait, there are even more issues linked to weight and sleep. Sleep deprivation causes your body to be significantly less sensitive to insulin. If you want more information on type 2 diabetes and how insulin works to move sugar out of the bloodstream and into cells where it can be used, I'll put a link in the show notes to that episode. But when the body doesn't respond to insulin, the pancreas responds by cranking out more. This promotes weight gain in general, but belly fat in particular, and it increases the risk of type 2 diabetes. Another hormone affected by sleep and important in healthy weight is growth hormone. Most of it's released during deep sleep, so if your sleep quality is not good, then you never get to that deep sleep cycle, and therefore your body makes less growth hormone, which promotes fat burning, maintenance of lean muscle mass, and raises metabolism. So, without enough growth hormone, you can maintain the same weight, but your body composition may shift towards a higher percentage of fat and less muscle. You might want to keep track of your sleep to evaluate how well you're sleeping. And quantity and quality are important. For example, you may sleep 8 hours a night, but if you never get to that deep sleep, then you're not making the growth hormone you need. What can make you do that is alcohol. Alcohol may help you fall asleep, but it prevents you from getting into that deep sleep. And many sleeping medications do the same thing. So it's important to focus on not only the quantity, but the quality. But here's the deal. Without the quantity, you never get to those 5 to 6 cycles of sleep that you need to go through before your body gets into the deep sleep. So it's all very important. And it may help you to track your sleep to see how you're doing. If you'd like a free sleep tracker blueprint, then just show up to my free live sleep masterclass. You can sign up, the link in the show notes. Thyroid hormone levels can be affected by sleep too because of the reduction in thyroid stimulating hormone, or TSH, which is released from the brain to tell the thyroid gland how much T3 and T4 to make. When thyroid function is low, the metabolic rate slows, fatigue increases, and weight gain can occur. In one episode, I referred to sleep as the mood mechanic. I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well, but that's because sleep deprivation affects the reward centers in the brain where dopamine lives. And look, we gotta have dopamine in our brains. We'll do anything to increase the levels, and that can result in using food as a way to satisfy the need. In addition, serotonin levels are lowered with poor sleep, and that can cause unhealthy carbohydrate cravings. And what about sex hormones? Well, testosterone can decrease by 10 to 15% in men due to poor sleep for a week. And this can reduce muscle mass and increase fat storage. And in women, estrogen and progesterone imbalances can occur, and that also affects fat storage, especially after menopause. And it also lowers metabolism. If you've tried really hard to lose weight, remember, diet is far more important than anything, including exercise. Of course, you need a healthy diet and activity for optimum health. But healthy sleep should also be considered part of a healthy lifestyle. Good sleep habits means keeping a regular schedule, timing light exposure because that's what controls melatonin secretion and that gets the whole ball of wax rolling. But also having a good environment to sleep. You need a comfortable, uncluttered place to sleep. And think cave, cool, dark, and quiet. And of course, those screens emit blue light, and that suppresses melatonin secretion and can interfere with your sleep. Also, be mindful of the things that you eat and drink, like caffeine and sugar and salt. All of these things can affect your sleep, but new habits aren't always easy to form, and old habits aren't always easy to break. If you'd like to learn more, join me for my free sleep masterclass. It'll be live on March 3rd, 5th, and 8th. We'll look at 6 surprising reasons you're tossing and turning and what to do about them. I'll help you make small, sustainable changes to improve sleep and maintain a healthy weight, because healthy looks great on you.
The information contained in this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not considered to be a substitute for medical advice. You should continue to follow up with your physician or healthcare provider and take medication as prescribed. Though the information in this podcast is evidence-based, new research may develop and recommendations may change.